Sean Sullivan is a congressional reporter for the Washington Post. Sean, thanks for being with us. You heard the vice president say on our morning show that critics say the Graham-Cassidy bill does not protect people with pre-existing conditions and that some people would have to pay more. Break this down for us. What does this bill do?
Well, it does retain the protection in the Affordable Care Act for people with pre-existing conditions. However, what the bill essentially does is it takes billions of dollars in federal money that goes toward health care under the Affordable Care Act, and it essentially gives them to the states, and it gives states these block grants that they can use basically in almost any way they want. There's going to be a lot of leeway if this law is actually put into practice about what states can do. And so therefore you have a lot of people worried about, well, hold on a second, we're reshaping the healthcare system. We are going to experience, they are afraid, things that would be very, very catastrophic or bad to people with pre-existing conditions, and that some of the protections they've gotten under Obamacare might not be there. So it's a complicated picture. You have on one side the advocates of this bill saying, hold on a second, we're not taking away any of these protections. But on the other side, you have people saying, well, hold on, you're reshaping the whole system. Those protections might not mean much in a world where people with pre-existing conditions are ultimately going to have to end up paying a lot more money for care.
And it'll go state by state. As you know, Republicans are not waiting for a CBO score on this bill, basically how many people could lose coverage. Some of them, like Senator Ted Cruz, have criticized the CBO's previous analyses, but can they sell this plan to their constituencies without it?
Well, a really critical period is going to be this next 3 or 4 days when the Senate is gone, the House is gone. They're going to have to go back into their states and their districts. What are they going to hear from people? Are they going to get angry phone calls? Are they going to get people protesting in front of their offices? Are they going to get people showing up at every public event? I think it's really important to watch the next 3 or 4 days, because when they come back next week, they're going to have to make a decision. This is it. They're up against the clock right now. They only have until the end of this month if they want to pass a bill along party lines without any Democratic support. And so they have to act now, or really the reality is it's just not going to happen, at least not in this Congress moving into 2018.
So is there any indication, Sean, that more senators who've been on the fence are getting on board with this bill?
Right now it's the same sort of 4 or 5 people that we're watching, and these are the same 4 or 5 senators that we watched the last time they tried to do this. Keep an eye on Lisa Murkowski in Alaska. She is somebody who has not said whether she's voting for this, whether she's voting against this. She voted no last time on the previous repeal effort. She has said that she is concerned. Look, healthcare costs are really, really high in Alaska. This is a state that expanded Medicaid. So she's saying, I want more data, I want more studies. Come prove to me, essentially, is what she's saying, that this bill will not harm my state. Of course, another person to watch is John McCain, who I think surprised a lot of people last time when he voted no on the previous repeal attempt. He hasn't shown his cards either, although he said he's open to voting for this. So McCain, Murkowski, those are the ones to watch right now. Neither of them have shown their hands, but we're getting to the point where they're going to have to make a call, make a decision at some point in the next week. And what they decide could decide the fate of this bill.
Remind us how many no votes would kill this bill among Republicans.
Right, so Republicans have a very narrow advantage in the Senate. They have 52 Republican senators. They can lose 2 votes, and then that would give them 50 votes, and then Vice President Pence could break a tie. If they lose more than 2 votes, this bill is history, because not a single Democrat, even the centrist Democrats, are going to want to touch this at all.
And Trump likes this bill.
Trump does like this bill. He was pretty optimistic about it yesterday. The vice president has been calling around on Capitol Hill. It seems like the leadership is on the same page, both at the White House and in the Senate. It really just does come down to, will enough of these centrist Republicans decide to vote for this or
not? Is this bill substantively very different from previous repeal bills that have been up before the Senate?
It is different in the sense that you're essentially reshaping the healthcare system. You're creating these block grants for states. This is a very, very dramatic move, a very, very dramatic change. For a long time in the summer, Republicans were unable to come up with any sort of agreement on a big bill, and what they put to a vote in July was much narrower than a lot of other stuff they talked about. They said, look, let's just put this narrow repeal. They even dubbed it the skinny repeal. On the floor, and let's just keep the talks going. And so, this is a very different bill. This is something that is dramatically different. I think that's why you're seeing the Murkowskis and the McCains of the world really, really pause and say, hold on a second. This is a consequential vote. I need to make sure I do the right thing here.
It affects the health of millions of people, obviously. Sean Sullivan, thanks for giving us some more details.
Thank you.